Ladies and gentlemen, discipline is not a word. It is the bridge between your present and your greatness. Without discipline, dreams rot. With discipline, even the impossible bends to your will. Today I reveal to you 7 techniques to forge unbreakable discipline. Listen with your soul, because this message is not for the weak. It is for those ready to rise. First, define your purpose with absolute clarity. A man without a purpose is like a ship without a compass, drifting, wandering, and at the mercy of every storm. You cannot build discipline if you do not know why you must rise each morning, why you must sacrifice, why you must push when your body screams for rest. Purpose is the fire that makes discipline not a burden but a weapon. When your goal is sharp, when your vision burns in your chest, discipline becomes automatic. You no longer ask, should I do this? You already know you must. Purpose is the bloodline of discipline. Without it, you will quit the moment pain arrives. With it, you will endure what others cannot. Control your mind, for discipline begins in thought before it ever shows in action. Every weakness, every delay, every excuse is born in the mind. If you allow fear to take root, if you allow doubt to whisper, if you allow the comfort of tomorrow to deceive you, discipline dies before it begins. Your mind is your kingdom, and you are either its ruler or its prisoner. The undisciplined man is enslaved by impulses, dragged by emotions, swayed by distraction. The disciplined man commands his thoughts like a general commands soldiers, decisive, firm, and unshakable. You must train your mind to obey you, to focus on what must be done, and to silence the cries of weakness. Until your mind bends to your will, your life will bend to mediocrity. Then comes the power of habits. Discipline is not built in a single act of effort. It is built in repetition, carved day after day until it becomes permanent. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. The undisciplined man wastes energy deciding daily whether to work, whether to train, whether to push. The disciplined man removes choice because his habits have already decided for him. He has trained himself so well that action flows without hesitation. Greatness is nothing but the result of simple habits repeated with unshakable consistency. Decide the habits that align with your purpose and chain yourself to them until they are unbreakable. Guard your time with ferocity. Time is the raw material of discipline, and yet it is squandered by the weak as if it is infinite. Every wasted minute is a fragment of your future burned in the fire of distraction. Discipline means you schedule your hours, you honor your commitments, and you refuse to let the trivial steal from the eternal. A man who cannot control his time cannot control his destiny. Discipline demands that you treat time as sacred, for every sunrise carries within it opportunity that will never return. Discipline demands the sacrifice of comfort. Greatness and comfort cannot live in the same house. Comfort whispers, rest a little longer, take it easy, you deserve it. But behind that voice hides decay. Every man who chose comfort over struggle has buried his dreams in the graveyard of regret. Discipline requires you to pay the price of effort, of sweat, of late nights and early mornings. Do not fear discomfort, welcome it, for it is the sign you are growing, the proof that you are breaking through the chains of weakness. Every time you step into discomfort, you step closer to mastery. Your environment shapes your discipline more than you realize. Surround yourself with the lazy, and discipline crumbles. Surround yourself with the weak, and excuses multiply. But place yourself among the driven, the relentless, the hungry, and you will be forced to rise. Discipline thrives in an environment where standards are high and excuses are despised. If you wish to build discipline, choose carefully the soil in which you plant your life. You cannot grow oak-like strength in barren ground. Accountability is the hammer that forges discipline into steel. Excuses are soft chains, but accountability shatters them. A disciplined man keeps his word even when no one is watching. He treats his promises to himself as sacred contracts. When you say you will rise at dawn, you rise. When you say you will finish the task, you finish it. No compromise, no delay. Accountability kills the easy road and replaces it with responsibility. And responsibility builds strength. But even with all these, the true test of discipline comes when adversity strikes. When your plans fail, when the storm rages, when everything in you screams to give up, that is when discipline is revealed. Persistence is the crown of discipline. The weak quit when the pain arrives. The disciplined endure until victory bows before them. Remember this truth. When you feel like quitting, you are closer than you think. Discipline demands that you hold the line when everything inside wants to retreat. Finally, discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. The undisciplined man abandons himself to weakness, betrays his own potential, and insults his own destiny. The disciplined man proves through his actions that he values his life, that he honors his purpose, that he refuses to live below his calling. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is power. Discipline is the path walked by all who left their names carved into history. So I tell you this, define your purpose, command your mind, build your habits, guard your time, embrace discomfort, choose your environment wisely, demand accountability, persist in adversity, and above all, respect yourself enough to live with discipline. For the man with discipline is unstoppable, and the world always makes way for the unstoppable. Second, control your mind. For the man who cannot rule his mind will never rule his life. Your mind is the battlefield, and every day thoughts march across it like armies. Some thoughts carry weakness, some carry fear, some carry distraction, and some carry the power to lift you into greatness. If you allow the wrong army to win, discipline dies before it even begins. Every failure, every wasted hour, every excuse that held you back, trace it to the root and you will find the same source. A thought you permitted to grow. Control the mind and you seize control of everything. Lose the mind and you are nothing but a puppet pulled by impulses and emotions. The undisciplined man lets his mind wander like a drunk horse, stumbling into every pit of temptation. He sees ease and takes it. He hears doubt and listens. He feels fear and bows to it. His mind commands him, and so he remains a servant to weakness. But the disciplined man reverses the order. He commands the mind as a master commands a servant. He does not entertain every thought that enters, for he knows not all thoughts deserve a seat at his table. He chooses, he directs, he decides. That is control. Understand this, your thoughts are seeds, and whatever seeds you water will grow into the tree of your destiny. If you water doubt, you harvest regret. If you water fear, you reap failure. If you water excuses, you grow weakness. But if you water courage, persistence, vision, and strength, you harvest greatness. Control of the mind is nothing less than gardening the soil of your future. And the man who neglects his garden finds it filled with weeds. Discipline demands that you train your mind like a soldier. Soldiers are not soft. Soldiers do not quit. Soldiers obey. So too must your mind obey your command. When your body screams for rest, your mind must whisper, keep going. When fear tells you to run, your mind must roar, stand firm. When temptation whispers just this once, your mind must thunder, never. Without this inner authority, discipline will collapse the moment struggle arrives. And do not deceive yourself. Your greatest enemy is not out there in the world. It is in here, inside your head. It is the voice that says, you can't. It is the thought that says, do it tomorrow. It is the feeling that says, take the easy way. That voice is cunning, it is patient, and it waits for the moment you are weak. Control of the mind means silencing that enemy, starving it of power, and refusing to obey its commands. How do you gain such control? By practice, by awareness, by refusing to let thoughts pass unchallenged. The disciplined man watches his thoughts as a guardian watches the gates. He questions them, does this thought serve me or destroy me? Does it push me forward or pull me back? And if the thought is poison, he casts it out without hesitation. This is how the mind is trained. This is how discipline is forged. But there is more. The mind not only resists weakness, it also creates strength. If you plant powerful visions within it, if you focus daily on your purpose, if you burn into your thoughts the image of who you must become, your mind begins to shape your actions toward it. Control of the mind is not just defense against weakness, it is offense toward greatness. The man who directs his mind toward victory will find his body, his habits, his time, and his discipline all aligning to fulfill that vision. And remember, your mind is not a passive servant. It is a powerful creator. The reality you live in today was shaped first in thought. Every invention, every triumph, every empire began first as a thought controlled, sharpened, and pursued until it became reality. The same power lies within you. If you control your mind, you hold in your hands the blueprint of your destiny. But if you let the mind run wild, if you let every fear, every distraction, every weakness take hold, then you are not living your own life. You are living the life dictated by chaos. A man who cannot control his mind is like a king dethroned, watching his kingdom burn while he stands powerless. So I say again with all force, control your mind, guard it with vigilance, train it with persistence, command it with authority, make it bow to your purpose, make it obey your vision. For when the mind is under your command, nothing can break your discipline. And when discipline holds firm, nothing on this earth can break you. Third, create powerful habits. For in the end, your life is nothing more than the sum of your habits. You are not what you occasionally do. You are what you repeatedly do. Discipline is not built in a single moment of strength, but in the patterns you choose to repeat until they become carved into your very being. Habits are invisible chains. They either drag you down into mediocrity or lift you up into greatness. The undisciplined man has habits that betray him, sleeping late, wasting time, indulging every craving, obeying every distraction. He wonders why he cannot rise, but the answer is simple. His habits keep him chained to the ground. The disciplined man, however, has forged habits that fight for him. He does not think about whether he should act. His habits act for him. He does not waste energy deciding whether to rise early, whether to work, whether to push forward. The decision has already been made by the force of repetition. That is the secret. Build habits so strong that they carry you when your will is weak. Understand this truth. In moments of fatigue, in moments of doubt, in moments when temptation is at its loudest, it will not be your fleeting motivation that saves you. It will be your habits. Motivation fades, emotion changes, but habits remain. They are the rails upon which your destiny moves forward. If those rails are weak, if they are broken, your train will never reach its destination. But if those rails are strong and straight, no storm, no obstacle, no setback can derail you. Habits are created by repetition. Repetition engraves. Every action repeated daily becomes a groove in your character. And over time, that groove deepens until you no longer even think about the act. You simply live it. The undisciplined man uses this truth against himself. He repeats excuses. He repeats laziness. He repeats distraction. Slowly, these become his character. He becomes the man who does not finish, the man who never starts, the man who lets his dreams rot. But the disciplined man knows the power of repetition, and he bends it to his will. He builds small but powerful habits and repeats them until they become automatic, until they define him, until he cannot live without them. Consider this. A man who writes 1 page every day will hold a book in his hands in a year. A man who lifts weights consistently will transform his body in months. A man who saves a small amount daily will find himself wealthy over time. None of these victories come from single bursts of effort. They come from habits that compound, habits that multiply, habits that grow like an avalanche, small at first, unstoppable at last. Discipline is the ability to chain yourself to those habits until the avalanche begins to roll. But habits do not form in ease. In the beginning, every habit feels heavy, awkward, unnatural. The weak quit during this stage because they want instant comfort. The strong endure this stage because they know repetition is the chisel that shapes character. If you can endure the early resistance, if you can push through the days when your mind says, "Not today," then you cross a line where the habit begins to serve you instead of you serving it. That is the turning point, the moment when discipline becomes almost effortless because the habit has been cemented. You must also recognize that habits are not neutral. They are either building you or destroying you. There is no middle ground. Every choice is carving your future. If you scroll endlessly, if you indulge in laziness, if you procrastinate, those too are habits, and they carry consequences. You cannot hope for greatness while feeding destructive routines. Therefore, you must be ruthless. Destroy the habits that weaken you. Starve them of time, starve them of energy, starve them of attention until they wither and die. Then replace them with habits that strengthen you, habits that align with your purpose, habits that move you forward. Guard your habits with vigilance because they are the foundation of your character. A man who wishes to change his life must first change his daily actions. Do not think in years. Do not think in months. Think in days, in hours, in repeated acts. For destiny is not written in one grand gesture. It is written in the small acts repeated endlessly. A man who cannot master his habits cannot master his life. And yet, once your habits are strong, they become your greatest ally. They work for you even when your spirit is low. They carry you when fatigue would otherwise defeat you. They remind you of who you are even when the world tries to make you forget. Discipline is simply the art of building such habits and refusing to let them go. So I say to you, create powerful habits. Choose them carefully, forge them consistently, and protect them fiercely. Build habits that fight for your future, habits that honor your purpose, habits that carve strength into your character. For when your habits are powerful, your discipline is unshakable. And when your discipline is unshakable, there is no force on earth that can stop you from rising. Fourth, master time. For time is life itself, and the man who wastes time wastes his very existence. Time is the only resource that can never be replaced, never be regained, never be renewed. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose strength and rebuild it. But when you lose time, it is gone forever. Every second that slips through your fingers is a piece of your destiny lost to eternity. The undisciplined man treats time as if it were infinite, as if he has an endless supply. He drifts, he delays, he postpones, and in the end he dies with nothing but regret. The disciplined man understands the truth. Time is the currency of life, and only those who master it can buy greatness. To master time is to rise above the illusion that tomorrow is promised. Tomorrow is not yours. Next week is not yours. The only moment you own is now. Discipline means seizing this moment with iron hands, refusing to waste it in triviality, refusing to squander it on distractions that steal your future. The weak say, I'll do it later. The strong say, I'll do it now. The difference between mediocrity and greatness is found in those few words. Later is the language of failure. Now is the language of discipline. You must guard your time as a warrior guards his treasure, because every demand, every distraction, every interruption is an enemy seeking to rob you. Social noise, idle talk, meaningless scrolling, these are not harmless habits, they are thieves. They steal from you in small, invisible moments, and when enough has been stolen, you look back and wonder where your life went. The disciplined man cuts ruthlessly. He says no to the unimportant. He eliminates what does not serve his mission. He knows that to say yes to his future, he must say no 1,000 times to the meaningless. Mastery of time is also mastery of focus. A man who tries to do everything at once achieves nothing. Time is powerful only when it is concentrated. The laser cuts through steel not because of its size, but because of its focus. So too must you direct your time with precision. 1 hour of pure focus is worth more than 10 hours of distracted effort. Discipline means channeling your energy into what matters most, refusing to dilute your hours on tasks that do not move you forward. The undisciplined man surrenders his time to procrastination. He deceives himself with the comfort of delay, believing he has more time than he truly does. But procrastination is death disguised as patience. It kills silently, one wasted day at a time. The disciplined man does not wait for the perfect moment, because he knows the perfect moment does not exist. He acts, he begins, he creates momentum now, because now is the only time that matters. Time must also be scheduled. To leave your day unplanned is to hand it over to chaos. The disciplined man structures his hours, guards his mornings, commands his evenings. He lives by order, not by chance. He wakes with intention, he works with direction, and he rests with purpose. His day bends to his will, while the undisciplined man bends to the randomness of circumstance. If you do not plan your time will be planned for you. By distractions, by weakness, by others who value their priorities more than you value your own. Yet mastery of time is not merely about work, it is about balance. The disciplined man knows when to act, but he also knows when to recover. He uses time to sharpen his body, to strengthen his mind, to nurture his spirit. Rest is not laziness, rest is preparation, but rest must be intentional, not indulgent. There is a difference between recharging to fight again and wasting time in endless slumber. Discipline draws that line with clarity. Every day you live is a page in the book of your life. Waste the day and you waste the page. Waste enough days and you waste the story. Mastery of time means you write each page with strength, with progress, with purpose. You do not leave blank pages for regret to fill later. You take each sunrise as a command, each hour as a test, each minute as an opportunity to prove your discipline. And when death comes, as it surely will for every man, you will not beg for more time because you will know you mastered the time you had. You will not cry over wasted years because you used them with precision. You will not regret the hours lost because you refuse to lose them. That is the victory of mastering time. It gives you peace at the end, knowing you lived with discipline, knowing you did not squander the most precious gift given to man. So I say again, with urgency burning in my voice, master time, guard it, structure it, respect it, and above all, use it. Do not let the hours escape you. Do not let tomorrow steal from today, for the man who masters time masters life, and the man who masters life becomes unstoppable. Fifth, sacrifice comfort. For comfort is the silent killer of dreams, the sweet poison that rots ambition from the inside out. Every man who has achieved greatness has waged war against comfort, while every man who has fallen into mediocrity has made peace with it. Comfort whispers in your ear, stay where you are, it's warm here, it's safe here, you've done enough. But that whisper is a trap. Behind it lies stagnation, weakness, and the slow death of potential. The disciplined man does not bow to comfort. He sacrifices it, knowing that the path of ease leads only to regret. Understand this, growth lives on the other side of discomfort. The muscles of your body grow only through the pain of resistance. The strength of your mind grows only through the pressure of challenge. The power of your spirit grows only through the storms of hardship. If you shield yourself from discomfort, you shield yourself from growth. If you hide from struggle, you hide from greatness. The very things you run from are the very things that forge you into who you must become. The undisciplined man worships comfort. He sleeps when he should rise. He eats when he should fast. He indulges when he should endure. He builds a life designed to avoid pain, but in doing so, he creates a greater pain. The pain of never reaching his potential. He looks back years later and realizes that every moment he chose comfort, he chose weakness. He realizes that every time he surrendered to ease, he abandoned his destiny. And by then, it is too late. The disciplined man chooses differently. He embraces discomfort not as punishment, but as training. He knows that sweat, sacrifice, and struggle are not enemies, but allies. He does not run from the cold shower, the long hours, the difficult path. He runs into them because he knows they sharpen his blade. He accepts pain as the toll required to cross the bridge to greatness. He sacrifices comfort today so that he may live with power tomorrow. Sacrificing comfort is not a single act. It is a lifestyle. It is choosing to rise before dawn when the world still sleeps. It is choosing to push through one more rep when your muscles scream to stop. It is choosing to focus when your mind craves distraction. It is choosing to endure the storm rather than seek shelter in excuses. Discipline is not about avoiding pain. It is about walking into it willingly, because you understand it is the doorway to everything you desire. Do not be deceived by the illusion of ease. Comfort offers temporary pleasure but demands permanent regret. Discomfort demands temporary struggle but rewards permanent strength. Every man must choose between the two. If you choose comfort, you live with regret. If you choose discomfort, you live with discipline, and discipline is freedom. Think of the greats, those whose names echo through history. Do you believe they were comfort seekers, or do you believe they endured sleepless nights, endless effort, relentless sacrifice? Comfort never built empires. Comfort never carved champions. Comfort never raised leaders. It is always the sacrifice of comfort that births greatness. The price is high, yes, but the reward is eternal. The truth is simple. Life will test you with pain no matter what you choose. If you chase comfort, you suffer the pain of weakness, the pain of lost opportunities, the pain of regret. If you sacrifice comfort, you suffer the pain of effort, the pain of discipline, the pain of struggle. One pain destroys you, the other builds you. Which pain will you embrace? The undisciplined man asks, why must it be so hard? The disciplined man answers, because hard is the only way worth walking. Comfort is the language of the masses. Sacrifice is the language of the few. And only the few rise to mastery. Only the few leave behind a legacy that cannot be erased. So choose today to sacrifice comfort. Wake earlier than you want. Work longer than you feel like. Train harder than your body demands. Say no when temptation calls. Stay disciplined when the crowd collapses into ease. Each act of sacrifice adds another stone to the fortress of your character. Each act of discomfort adds another weapon to your arsenal. Slowly, piece by piece, you become unbreakable. And when you look back years from now, you will not remember the pain of discomfort. You will remember the power it gave you. You will not regret the nights you sacrificed. You will rejoice in the strength they built. You will not mourn the comforts you denied. You will stand proud in the victories they created. For comfort is forgotten, but strength remains. Ease fades, but greatness endures. So I say again with burning clarity, sacrifice comfort. Step into the fire of discipline. Embrace the struggle, endure the hardship, and let pain forge you into steel. Do not chase the illusion of an easy life, for it does not exist. Chase the life of discipline, and you will live as few men ever do, with power, with purpose, with unshakable strength. For comfort is the enemy of greatness, and only those who sacrifice it rise above the rest. Sixth, guard your environment. For no man is stronger than the influence of what surrounds him. Your environment is either the wind in your sails or the anchor dragging you down. You may have the will, the fire, the vision, but if your environment is poisoned, it will suffocate your discipline. The truth is brutal. The people around you, the places you dwell in, the habits of those closest to you, they are shaping you every single day, whether you notice it or not. The undisciplined man ignores this law. He surrounds himself with mediocrity, with weakness, with those who laugh at ambition and worship comfort, and slowly, without realizing it, he becomes like them. The disciplined man, however, is ruthless with his environment. He surrounds himself only with the forces that strengthen him, only with the influences that demand his best, only with the energy that lifts him higher. He knows that no matter how strong he believes himself to be, if he bathes in poison long enough, he will grow sick. You must understand energy is contagious. Discipline is contagious. Laziness is contagious. If you walk among the lazy, their excuses will become your excuses. If you walk among the weak, their doubts will echo in your mind. If you spend your hours in places where nothing grows, you too will wither. But if you walk among the disciplined, you will be forced to rise. If you walk among the strong, you will feel shame if you are weak. If you live in an environment that demands growth, you will grow whether you feel like it or not. That is the unseen power of environment. It shapes you even when you are unaware. The undisciplined man lives as if environment does not matter. He says, I can resist. He says, I won't be influenced. But slowly, the pull begins. One excuse from a friend becomes his excuse. One wasted night becomes his pattern. One distraction becomes his habit. He is shaped not by choice, but by neglect. And by the time he realizes, the environment has conquered him. The disciplined man does not allow such weakness. He knows that resistance is not enough. He must design his environment to serve him. He chooses his surroundings the way a warrior chooses his weapons, carefully, intentionally, with precision. Guarding your environment means choosing who you allow into your life. Some people fuel your fire, others drown it. Some people lift your standards, others drag them into the mud. Do not deceive yourself into thinking you can carry everyone. You cannot. You must cut away those who weaken you, not with hatred, but with clarity. Your destiny is too great to be suffocated by the smallness of others. Discipline means saying no to toxic voices, no to negative energy, no to those who feed your doubts instead of your dreams. But environment is not only people. It is also the space you live in, the tools you use, the atmosphere you create. A cluttered room breeds a cluttered mind. A chaotic environment breeds chaotic habits. The disciplined man engineers his environment for focus. He removes distractions. He simplifies. He creates a space where productivity flows naturally. He understands that discipline is not just about willpower. It is about building an environment where willpower is not constantly under attack. Ask yourself, is your environment pushing you toward your purpose or pulling you away from it? Does it encourage action or does it invite laziness? Does it challenge you or does it comfort you? Every answer is a mirror reflecting why you are where you are. Change the environment and you change yourself. Guarding your environment also means guarding what enters your mind. Every book you read, every voice you listen to, every image you consume is shaping your thoughts. If you feed your mind garbage, do not be surprised when garbage comes out of your actions. The disciplined man is vigilant about his mental diet. He does not allow endless noise, endless negativity, endless distraction to pollute his mind. He consumes strength, knowledge, vision, wisdom. He feeds his mind with what builds discipline, not what destroys it. Do not underestimate this truth. No man rises alone. Every great achievement was built on the foundation of a strong environment, and every wasted life was buried under the weight of a weak one. You are not above influence. You are not beyond environment. You are being shaped every day, either by design or by default. Discipline means you design it. So build your circle carefully. Build your space intentionally. Build your environment ruthlessly. Surround yourself with people who force you to rise, not people who allow you to fall. Create a space where excuses cannot survive, where laziness feels out of place, where only growth and discipline feel natural. And then guard that environment with your life. For your life is exactly what your environment will create. In the end, understand this, your environment is either your prison or your fortress. It will either trap you in mediocrity or protect you on your path to greatness. The choice is yours. But if you are wise, if you are disciplined, you will guard it with unbreakable vigilance. For no man ever reached greatness while living in a weak environment, and no man ever fell while living in one that demanded his strength. So guard your environment, for in guarding it, you are guarding your destiny. Seventh, demand accountability, for without accountability, discipline collapses into excuses. A man who does not hold himself accountable is a man who lies to himself daily, and no liar can ever build greatness. Accountability is the line that separates the dreamers from the doers, the weak from the strong, the pretenders from the conquerors. The undisciplined man promises himself he will rise early, but he sleeps. He swears he will finish the task, but he delays. He speaks of ambition, but his actions betray him. He builds castles with words, but destroys them with inaction. He does not hold himself accountable, and so his life becomes nothing but empty promises. The disciplined man is different. His word is law. If he says he will do it, he does it. Not because it is easy, not because it is convenient, but because he demands accountability from himself above all else. You must understand this. Excuses are the language of the undisciplined. Excuses are soft pillows for weak men to rest their failures upon. Every time you excuse yourself, you weaken yourself. Every time you justify your delay, you train your mind to accept weakness. Accountability kills excuses at the root. It leaves no room for maybe tomorrow or just this once. Accountability says, you said it. Now prove it. And the disciplined man proves it, even if it costs him comfort, even if it costs him ease, even if it costs him temporary pleasure, because he knows the cost of excuses is far greater. The cost is his destiny. Demanding accountability means treating your promises as sacred contracts. If you say you will wake at dawn, you wake. If you say you will train, you train. If you say you will finish, you finish. The undisciplined man gives his word cheaply and breaks it freely. The disciplined man gives his word rarely and honors it completely. He knows that every time he keeps his word, he strengthens his character, and every time he breaks it, he weakens it. Character is not built in speeches, it is built in accountability. But accountability is not only internal, it is also external. The disciplined man surrounds himself with people who demand his best. He places himself in situations where his excuses cannot hide. He seeks mentors, coaches, partners, who will hold him to the fire when he wants to escape it. He welcomes judgment, he welcomes correction, he welcomes challenge, because he knows that accountability sharpens him. The undisciplined man avoids accountability. He hides his failures, he avoids the strong, he seeks only those who will comfort his weakness. And so he remains weak. Understand this, if you are the only judge of your own actions, you will be tempted to let yourself go. Discipline grows when there is pressure, when there is expectation, when there is a standard that must be met. This is why champions place themselves under accountability, why leaders embrace scrutiny, why the strong welcome judgment. They understand that accountability is not an enemy. It is the ally that keeps them from falling into the trap of mediocrity. Demanding accountability also means refusing to hide behind circumstances. The undisciplined man blames the world, blames time, blames others. But blame is cowardice. Accountability is power. When you say, it is my responsibility, it is my fault, it is my duty, you seize control of your life. You cannot change what you do not own. Accountability gives you ownership, and ownership gives you the power to change. Excuses surrender power to the outside world. Accountability seizes it back. And yet accountability is hard because it demands honesty. Brutal honesty. You must look in the mirror and admit where you have failed. You must measure your actions, not your intentions. You must strip away the illusions and face the truth. The undisciplined man cannot do this. He hides from the mirror. He hides from the truth. He hides from his own weakness. The disciplined man faces it boldly, not to shame himself, but to strengthen himself. He knows the man who is honest about his failures is the man who can rise from them. Demand accountability not just once, but daily. Each sunrise is a test. Each hour is a choice. Discipline is not proved in words. It is proved in the record of your actions. Did you rise? Did you train? Did you finish? Did you push? Did you keep your word? That is accountability. That is discipline. And here lies the ultimate truth. Accountability is self-respect. When you demand accountability from yourself, you are declaring, my word matters, my actions matter, my life matters. The undisciplined man does not respect himself, so he does not demand much of himself. But the disciplined man honors his own life by demanding excellence, by demanding follow-through, by demanding accountability. So, I say again with power, demand accountability. Refuse excuses, refuse delay, refuse to break your own word, hold yourself to the highest standard. Surround yourself with those who demand your best. Take full ownership of your actions, your time, your choices, your destiny, for the man who demands accountability from himself will never need to be controlled by another. He will walk with discipline, he will live with strength, and he will rise with power. And the world, as it always has, will bow before the man who keeps his word. Persistence in adversity is the mark of the unstoppable. Any man can move forward when the path is smooth, when the skies are clear, when the winds are gentle. But the true test of discipline, the true measure of greatness, is revealed in the storm. Adversity does not come to destroy you. It comes to test you, to carve you, to harden you into the man worthy of the destiny you seek. Most men quit at the first sign of difficulty. They fold under pressure. They surrender when it hurts. They abandon their dreams when the world pushes back. But the disciplined man does not retreat. He persists. He rises when others fall. He moves forward when every bone in his body screams to stop. That persistence, that refusal to yield, is what separates the common from the great. Adversity is not an accident. It is part of the process. The road to greatness was designed with obstacles, because without resistance there is no strength. The weak see adversity as a wall. The strong see it as a forge. Fire either consumes you or it shapes you. The disciplined man chooses to be shaped. He understands that every setback is a lesson, every failure a teacher, every hardship a step forward in disguise. The undisciplined man curses his misfortune, but the disciplined man welcomes the challenge. He knows that diamonds are created only under pressure, and men of power are no different. Persistence in adversity requires a decision that once made cannot be undone. You must decide that quitting is not an option, that surrender is not a choice, that you will push forward no matter the cost. The undisciplined man negotiates with adversity. He says, "If it gets too hard, I'll stop." But the disciplined man does not bargain. He makes a vow to himself, "I will not stop until I have conquered this challenge, no matter how long it takes, no matter how painful it becomes." That vow becomes his armor, his shield against despair, his weapon against defeat. The truth is that adversity strips away the weak. It exposes the pretenders. It reveals the difference between those who want success and those who demand it. When the road gets hard, most turn back. They justify their retreat. They say, "It wasn't meant to be." But those are lies told to comfort weakness. The disciplined man does not soothe himself with lies. He confronts the pain, he embraces the hardship, and he persists. For he knows that on the other side of adversity lies the prize, and only those who persist long enough to reach it will taste it. Persistence is not blind effort. It is focused endurance. It is not about running in circles. It is about refusing to quit on the path that leads forward. Every failure teaches, every challenge strengthens. Every setback prepares you for the next test. The disciplined man extracts power from his struggles. He turns wounds into wisdom, pain into fuel, obstacles into opportunities. The undisciplined man sees adversity as punishment. The disciplined man sees it as preparation. There will be days when nothing works, when every door slams shut, when your strength feels gone, when your hope feels faint. These are the days that define you. Anyone can persist when things are easy. The question is, will you persist when you are broken, when you are tired, when you are doubting, when the world tells you to quit? Discipline is persistence in those moments. Discipline is saying, "I will not stop, even now." Remember this, adversity is temporary, but quitting is permanent. Pain will pass, but regret will stay. If you persist, you will outlast the pain. If you quit, you will never escape the regret. This is why persistence is the weapon of the disciplined. They do not quit because they cannot live with the shame of surrender. They would rather suffer the fire of adversity than the poison of regret. And here lies the secret. The longer you persist, the more powerful you become. Adversity that once seemed unbearable becomes familiar. Pain that once broke you becomes fuel. Every time you endure, you rise. Every time you persist, you grow. Persistence is not just surviving adversity, it is being transformed by it into someone greater than before. So when the storm comes, when the ground shakes beneath you, when your strength feels gone, remember this: adversity is not the end, it is the beginning. Persistence is the bridge that carries you across the storm into the land of triumph. Do not let the storm convince you that you cannot move forward. Do not let the pain convince you that you are finished. Stand firm, push harder, persist. For in the end, greatness is not measured by how easy the journey was. It is measured by how fiercely you persisted when the journey tried to break you. The disciplined man carries the scars of his adversity as badges of honor. Each one tells the story of persistence. Each one declares, "I did not quit." And that, above all else, is the essence of true power. So I say to you now with the fire of certainty, persist in adversity. Refuse to bow, refuse to break, refuse to surrender. Stand tall in the storm, keep moving when others stop, and hold your ground when everything within you screams to give up. For persistence in adversity is not only the key to discipline, it is the key to victory itself. Self-respect is the foundation of discipline, and without it, no man can ever rise to greatness. If you do not respect yourself, you will never demand more from yourself. You will tolerate weakness. You will accept excuses. You will betray your own word. But when you carry self-respect, you refuse to live beneath your potential. You refuse to dishonor yourself with laziness, with lies, with mediocrity. Self-respect is the inner law that says, I deserve more, and therefore I must become more. It is the silent force that drives you to wake when you are tired, to push when you are broken, to endure when others collapse. The undisciplined man does not respect himself. He pretends he does, but his actions betray him. He breaks his promises to himself daily. He eats what weakens him. He wastes the hours meant for building his future. He chooses comfort over growth. Each time he does, his self-respect erodes piece by piece until there is nothing left but regret. He becomes a man who cannot trust himself, and that is the greatest failure of all, to live in a body you cannot respect, to carry a mind you cannot trust. The disciplined man lives differently. His respect for himself is sacred. He understands that self-respect is earned, not given. It is built in the darkness when no one is watching. It is forged in the small decisions, the daily choices, the moments when no one else will ever know what he did. He keeps his word to himself because he knows that is the highest standard of honor. He chooses discipline not only for success, but because success without self-respect is hollow. Self-respect is the fire that destroys excuses. A man who respects himself cannot tolerate mediocrity. He will not allow himself to drift, to waste, to decay. He will not betray his future for a moment of ease. He demands more because he knows he is worth more, and that demand, that inner standard, is what fuels unbreakable discipline. Without self-respect, you are easily broken. With self-respect, you become immovable. Respecting yourself also means guarding the way you think, the way you speak, the way you act. It means refusing to pollute your mind with weakness, refusing to speak words of doubt and defeat, refusing to act in ways that shrink your power. Every thought, every word, every action is either raising your respect for yourself or lowering it. The undisciplined man ignores this truth, and so he slowly destroys himself. The disciplined man is vigilant, for he knows that self-respect is his most valuable possession. Self-respect is not arrogance, it is responsibility. It is not boasting, it is building. It is not pretending to be more than others, it is refusing to be less than yourself. It is looking in the mirror and knowing you are living in alignment with your own values, your own word, your own destiny. The man with self-respect does not need applause, does not need validation, does not need the approval of the world. His approval comes from within, from the unshakable knowledge that he is honoring himself. But understand this, self-respect is not built overnight. It is not built with grand speeches or loud declarations. It is built brick by brick, decision by decision, day after day. It is built when you rise instead of sleep, when you train instead of quit, when you endure instead of escape. Each act of discipline adds another brick to the fortress of your self-respect. And once that fortress is built, it is unshakable. Nothing outside can take it from you because it was built from within. The man without self-respect is a slave to pleasure, a slave to weakness, a slave to the opinions of others. He lives at the mercy of his impulses and the judgment of the world. But the man with self-respect is free. He commands himself. He controls his actions. He governs his destiny. No storm, no obstacle, no voice of doubt can strip him of that freedom. For the man who respects himself will never betray himself, and this is the truth few dare to face. Every act of laziness is an act of self-betrayal. Every excuse is an insult to yourself. Every broken promise is a wound to your own honor. You cannot live a life of greatness if you do not respect the man you see in the mirror. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is the way you prove to yourself that you are worthy of victory, worthy of success, worthy of greatness. So I say this with unshakable force. Respect yourself enough to be disciplined. Respect yourself enough to refuse excuses. Respect yourself enough to push when you want to quit. Respect yourself enough to keep your word, even when no one else would know if you broke it. For in the end, self-respect is not only the foundation of discipline, it is the foundation of freedom, power, and destiny. The man who respects himself commands the respect of the world. The man who betrays himself earns nothing but pity. Which will you be? The choice is yours. But know this, greatness begins the moment you decide that your life, your word, your destiny are worth respecting. And once that decision is made, there is no limit to what you can become. Discipline is the foundation of all greatness. Without it, purpose dies, dreams fade, and potential turns to dust. But with it, mountains bow, storms pass, and the impossible becomes inevitable. You have learned the techniques, you have felt the fire, but knowing them is not enough. Knowledge without action is nothing but decoration for the weak. What matters now is execution. What matters is whether you rise tomorrow with clarity of purpose, whether you command your mind, whether you build habits that carry you, whether you master your time, whether you sacrifice your comfort, whether you guard your environment, whether you demand accountability, whether you persist in adversity, and whether you respect yourself enough to never betray your own word. The world does not reward intentions. It rewards results. It rewards the discipline. And discipline is not a gift. It is a choice you must make today, a choice you must make tomorrow, a choice you must make every single day until your life becomes the proof of that choice. So stand tall. Decide now that you will not live as the undisciplined do. Decide that you will not waste, not delay, not bow to weakness. Decide that you will be relentless, unshakable, unstoppable. For the man who masters discipline masters life itself. And when you carry that discipline, no storm can defeat you, no obstacle can break you, and no force on earth can deny you. The time for excuses is gone. The time for delay is gone. The time for weakness is gone. The time for discipline is now. And when you walk with it, the world will have no choice but to step aside.